Think about the work you do. John Deere did. Now think about ways you can do your jobs easier, faster, and more efficiently. John Deere did that too. And the result is the AMT 600, a new breed of workhorse that gets the job done. The all-materials transport is unique. It may just be the most productive utility machine you can own. It's almost a truck. It's versatile, reliable. Most of all, it's a workhorse. But how do you get the most out of a machine like this? That's easy. You start with the right attitude. Productive and safe operation always begins in your mind. So read the operator's manual first. You'll quickly see that the AMT is designed to help you get your work done quicker and easier. The all-materials transport is not a toy. It is not an ATV. There's a whole working world of difference between the two. And it's different than other types of work vehicles as well. In a comparative test by a major trade magazine, the AMT was quoted to be like an apple in a basket of oranges. The AMT's unique five-wheel design make it intended for work in a wide variety of conditions, while all-terrain vehicles are used primarily for play. Look at the design. 5 large tires, solid construction. It looks sturdy, and it is. It looks like it can safely go just about anywhere. But that's a perception that needs changing. Remember, the AMT 600 is only for off-road operation, and like any other vehicle, it can get into trouble. Handled correctly, it will be the safe, effective answer to your job requirements. The key is control. Control of speed, terrain, conditions, all of the variables that contribute to safe operation. No one except you, the operator, should ride an all-materials transport. Please, take no passengers, no riders of any kind, and allow only people who are mature enough and thoroughly trained to operate the vehicle. The variable speed transmission provides smooth power control without jerks, jumps, and stalls. But be careful. Since there is no gear transmission, the AMT will freewheel when going downhill. So always drive slowly and use brakes when going downhill. The handbrake lever also provides a special park position, which should be used to lock the brakes before leaving the vehicle. An important feature to use with gearless transmissions. And under your feet, a roomy platform holds you up and out of the way, protected from debris. Always keep your feet on the platform away from the front tire. The AMT 600 can carry an average size operator and up to 600 pounds of payload on level ground. However, always reduce speed and load on uneven ground. But payload is more than just pounds carried. It's load density and the way the machine is loaded. Here's a 600-pound load of mortar cement, while this is a 600-pound load of bricks. And because of different densities, this much sand is 600 pounds. But this load of landscaping cinders is less than 600 pounds. Always keep the load within box dimensions. This load guard is designed to protect the operator, so never load above it. Loads can shift when you least expect it. A stable, safe load on flat grounds may not be stable on hilly grounds. As the slope changes, the load can shift with it. Don't treat 400 pounds of wood the same way you treat 400 pounds of gravel. Higher loads can make an AMT tip over on side hills. It still pays to know your terrain. Even though the AMT 600 is an aggressive climber, be careful on all slopes, whether going uphill or downhill. The rule of thumb is that even though a slope may look safe, it may not be. And if you drive into an unsafe situation, don't turn. back down. Always remember speed contributes to accidents. Hitting this rut at low speeds is a lot different than at high speeds. And notice how we kept the front wheel straight over the bump. A turned wheel at the wrong time is dangerous. The AMT 600 can also pull a utility cart. This expands your working range, but also increases your responsibility. Pull the cart with the AMT loaded and be extra careful, particularly when braking and when operating on slopes. The All Materials Transport from John Deere. It's a vehicle to help you work, backed by a service network dedicated to keep you working. And it's priced right. A test drive will convince you, and your dealer will show you how safer operation is the best way to get top productivity.
Welcome to the Florida Tidal Basin, a world where adaptation to the environment means the difference between success or failure for the wildlife, for the plant life, and for the equipment that works out here. In these wet marshlands, you'll find marine biologist Steve Beeman, owner of Eco Shores Incorporated, shoreline revegetation company, and the equipment he depends on, the John Deere AMT 600 All Materials Transport.
Our business transplants and grows wetland vegetation for use on shorelines, in lakes, rivers, and on dunes for erosion control and for recreating wetlands where they've been lost to development. These AMTs have saved us a lot of time and a lot of money. We were hauling plants out of these marshes by hand, carrying 10 to 20 at a time, and now we can haul probably 150 at a time with one driver and do it in less than half the time. We move a lot more plants, a lot more rapidly, and we don't impact our marshes as much because we don't leave the deep tracks that footprints leave when you're walking through this mud. We found these AMTs to be very helpful in getting into marshes and out into swamps that we couldn't get to with any vehicles in the past. We can't get out there with any kind of four-wheel drive trucks. We've even lost four-wheel drive tractors in some of these marshes. We push these machines beyond the limits of most users. We're out here every day, 8 or 9 hours a day. The machine is moving constantly and generally through water and through mud that most machines of this type would never see. We now have 3 of them, and we have been generally happy with them. They've been extremely dependable. In our business, we've found these AMTs to be very valuable and exceeded our expectations, especially in light of the modest cost.
As the coal barges and ships drift closer to the docks of the International Marine Terminal of Myrtle Grove, Louisiana, they bring with them a sense of immediacy to the dock hands who unload their cargo. With more than 300,000 metric tons of coal in their holds, unloading these freighters demands a high level of organization and efficiency, plus a crack maintenance crew to keep the miles of conveyors moving. To keep this operation running smoothly, International Marine Terminal uses 3 AMT 600 haulers to service and maintain the extremely critical conveyor system. Ray DePriest, purchasing agent for IMT, explains why the AMT transports were chosen for this operation.
We're a cold storage transfer terminal here. We move over 5.5 million metric tons of coal a year. We use the AMT 600 as a work vehicle, not as a play vehicle. One of the many uses of the AMT 600 is to move both a man and some replacement rollers to one of the many different conveyors we have here at IMT for both replacement and change out. For basically the same amount of money, we have a John Deere that can move both men and equipment with a storage capacity as compared to the same dollar value for other four-wheelers where you get just a four-wheel vehicle capable of moving a person only. The AMT's sturdiness and ability to help us move through the mud, coal dust, water buildup we have here at IMT with very little maintenance to it is one of the big reasons we chose the John Deere AMT. We have sometimes go through ditches, just like other people play in the water. We sometimes have to work in the water in ditches and mud. We sometimes use them to tow around welders or tow around portable generating stations. Here at IMT, local mechanics can work on the John Deere, which both reduces downtime and repair costs. We've had very little trouble with them. There's been no major breakdown or maintenance on the machines, but just general maintenance besides oil changes and spark plugs. The vehicles have held up very well out under these extreme conditions.
Sunrise. It signals the beginning of another high production day at one of the fastest growing nursery operations in North America. It's spring here in Groveland, Florida, which means that soon thousands of trees and shrubs will be shipped to retail outlets all over the United States. To handle this rise in activity caused by the rise in the sap, the All-American Nursery recently purchased a fleet of 8 AMT transports. Carl Linderman, General Manager of the All-American Nursery, tells how the 8 AMT haulers have changed their operation.
With us being a new nursery, the terrain around here is extremely rough in some spots. And at first we used to use a golf cart type vehicle to get around and found them to be very undependable. The AMTs we've had absolutely no trouble with in the past 2 months of operation out here, and hope to expand the fleet by quite a number. Our AMTs are basically used by our supervisors to move fertilizer, tracking carts. We have some steep sandy slopes here and they get around extremely well, where we used to get bogged down with the old type carts that we were using. They are extremely safe and we find them a pleasure to work with. The maneuverability of the AMT 600s around the nursery far superior to a lot of our trucks that we use because of the sandy conditions. And a big plus with the John Deeres, along with them being good machines, is the dealership. The dealership has been really great with getting this nursery started and off the ground. Our nursery at this time is approximately 155 acres, and we just purchased another 100 acres approximately a mile from this site. And we'll be using the AMTs to get supervisors back and forth from each farm, and hopefully next year when we expand again we'll be using them even more extensively for moving product and the fertilizer. When I have to get around the nursery rather than taking my pickup truck, I love to jump on the AMT and get across the nursery real quick to see what's going on. It's saved me a lot of time and money just by having the AMTs at the nursery here.
The John Deere AMT 600 All Materials Transport. Some see it as a low-cost alternative for hauling, towing, and providing personal transportation to those who need to go where the roads don't. Others see it as a rugged workhorse with a 600-pound capacity. And still others see it as the machine they would have designed for themselves. But no matter how the opinions may differ, all agree on one thing. The AMT transport is a valuable asset to every job it's on. From its 8.5 horsepower engine to its high flotation tandem drive to its hydraulic dump option, the All Materials Transport is proving to be a breakthrough in utility vehicle design.
For the cost, this vehicle gives you a lot of bang for your buck.
For basically the same amount of money, we have a John Deere that can move both men and equipment with a storage capacity as compared to the same dollar value for other four-wheelers where you get just a four-wheel vehicle capable of moving a person only.
They are extremely safe and we find them a pleasure to work with.
Find out what an AMT 600 All Materials Transport can do for your operation. Ask your dealer for a demonstration on your job site today.